Well, how high can you go? That's a question professional climber, many have set out to prove. After decades of rock climbing, the American daredevil is regarded as one of the world's best. We're talking, of course, Emily Harrington. And in 2020, she solidified her legacy by completing all 3,000 feet of the famous El Capitan in just one day.
This is no longer just to prove myself, it's to gain that confidence in myself.
You have to try things you're afraid of to get to know yourself.
It doesn't get much bigger. It doesn't get much more difficult than El Cap.
Wow. Now, Emily not only became the fourth person to ever complete the challenge, but also the first woman, with the documentary Girl Climber giving us a bird's eye view of her remarkable feat. And Emily Harrington joins us live from Lake Tahoe in California. Hey, Emily. So amazing to be speaking with you. You started rock climbing at just 10 years old. What about that the sport immediately had you hooked there?
Yeah, I started when I was 10 years old on like a little artificial wall. That's how most people start these days. And I think for me, it was the combination of problem solving and then that feeling of exposure, that feeling of air under my feet and feeling the fear, but being able to kind of manage that fear and push through it and continue to climb. And that's sort of what I've been fascinated with ever since.
It's an amazing combination of a lack of fear and strength. Your documentary, it's called Girl Climber, which I guess is a nod to that, run like a girl. I guess that's a nod to that. This follows your record-breaking free climb of El Capitan. Tell us, how much preparation goes into that? And what does free climbing actually mean for our viewers who may not be familiar with the term?
Yeah, really good to point that out. So free climbing is simply just using your hands and feet to ascend a wall and a rope and protection in case of a fall. So it's not to be confused with free soloing, which is just no rope at all. So they're very different in that the consequences of one is death, whereas with free climbing, using a rope and protection, it actually can be quite safe. And that said, climbing on El Capitan, it's one of the biggest, most difficult walls in the world. It requires a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge in terms of what you're doing, a lot of physical training as well as mental training, and a lot of logistics. So for me, it took several decades in order to get to a place where I felt like I could try to free climb it in under 24 hours.
Wow. I mean, you have to overcome so much mentally, but physically as well. During the climb, you actually had quite a nasty fall and a huge gash to your head. How do you even think about pushing on after that moment?
Yeah, that was an unfortunate fall that I took, because most of the time when we fall, because we do use a rope, it is totally fine and everything works out. I will say in all of my 30 years of rock climbing, that is the one time that I've taken a fall and been injured and it was caught on camera. But yeah, it was really hard. I wanted to give up. I thought that it was over. I thought that all these years of preparation and training and trying, in the end, I just started to think that I couldn't do it. And I think what the key for me was having really good partners, a really good team, a support group behind me to kind of uplift me in that darkest moment and let me realize that I am still capable and that I can keep going.
You kept going, indeed. You completed it in just 21 hours, 13 minutes and 51 seconds. When you finally get to the top, what is that feeling like?
For me, I think it was really surreal. I think it was actually almost, I think I was in a bit of shock, and it was very peaceful. There wasn't a lot of people up there. It was just me and my partners. I certainly didn't think that it would turn into a feature documentary film. So for me, it was just very personal and something that I'd worked for and sacrificed a lot. And so I think I just felt a lot of gratitude and a lot of pride.
How do you even start to feel calm when you have that degree of, or you call it exposure, but essentially that feeling of just looking down and seeing just such a distance beneath you, a void. How do you even get close to finding comfort or acceptance in that?
I think as humans, it's very interesting how we do adapt to uncomfortable situations. And I think one of the things I talk a lot about is the more you put yourself in uncomfortable situations, the more you feel uncomfortable emotions like fear and failure, the better you are at being able to manage them. And you do actually start to adapt and feel more comfortable in those areas of discomfort. And it's the same with exposure and height. At the beginning of every season, when I go to Yosemite, I'm always scared. I always feel the exposure. It's very distracting. It's very hard to focus. It's quite terrifying, honestly. But then as you kind of work your way up and continue to be in these places of discomfort, you start to adjust. And before you know it, those places that were once terrifying and really uncomfortable start to feel very familiar and very comfortable.
Absolutely incredible. The documentary is called Girl Climber, and it follows this record-breaking climb of El Capitan. Emily Harrington, lovely to talk to you this morning.
So great. Thanks, Emily.
Thank you.